All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Big Marley and I are back talking some fights. UFC Fight Night in Sacramento, California. 13 fights. 10 of the 13 are expected to finish. Couple big boy/girl favorites on the card. But hey, 13 fights is good. 10 out of 13 fit to finish. That equals some violence. And I'll be with you in Vegas watching them. Probably at Circa Swim to start. So I'm very excited. It doesn't matter who's on the screen. Money is to be made. Big Marley, how are we doing today?
Yeah, man, good. I can't wait for Vegas, and I don't think I've ever picked so many finishes on a card as well. So I think we're going to have a lot of early violence on this one, probably a lot of high scores, and hopefully we hit them right.
Absolutely. I love that. Can't wait to watch them with you and the Shipping Nation crew. Again, we will be out in Vegas celebrating D-Gen on Friday. If you have not found out the details, you can go to Twitter with Tambo. You can hit Big Marley or I up. Information in the Discord. It's not too late. You could book a flight tomorrow morning, get out there for the night, tomorrow afternoon. We would love to see everybody. Again, we are talking some UFC, though. 13 fights. I don't really have anything more to add. Again, I think a lot of big scores, a very good main event. Fluffy Hernandez, 5.88 takedowns per 15 minutes. Gregory Rodrigues, the action-packed fighter. It's pretty hard to get away from it, but there's a chance it scores 98 for Fluffy maybe, and enough higher scores happen elsewhere. But I think it's hard to get away from the main event. After that, everything, I think you can make cases to fade. Any thoughts for you?
Yeah, I think I don't know how many lineups I'm going to make, especially being in Vegas. I don't think we can't do lineups there, huh? We have to do
you got to enter. Yeah, whatever you playing, you got to enter.
Yeah, so that's going to keep me limited. So I think I'm going to force myself to be all in on the main, most likely, because a lot of the ones I would usually want to target are the high prices that I don't know if I'll even be able to get to.
For sure. Sorry, I'm chewing ice. The other fight that's really tough, you can see you have a lot of 5-star fights, but the other fight that's relatively tough to get away is priced right by Anthony Hernandez and Gregory Rodrigues. That's Jackson McVey and Wes Schultz. I think that is a phenomenal, phenomenal fight. Those are the two anchors. Again, ownership will follow, but if I had to pick two to anchor from, those are the ones for sure. All right, let's talk some fights. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. All we ask is a like button and subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. First fight of the night, big favorite, Shanelle Dyer, minus 750, taking on Elise Reed, plus 534, minus 190 for this fight to finish. Dyer minus 180 inside the distance. Reed plus 1,000. Dyer round 1 plus 185. I mean, yeah, she should win. I think she probably gets a knockout, but she's 9,700. So what do you plan on doing at that price tag?
Yeah, a rare 1-star fight. Even with 150 lineups, I would completely fade this fight. I don't know that I've ever had a 1-star fight end up on the optimal lineup either. So I feel like it's a good fade. I mean, a good tail on this one. Dyer should get the win. This is a striking match, really, either way. But Dyer's just so much faster. She's younger, just the cleaner overall striker. But I feel like she's going to spend a lot of time kind of dancing around. It's not going to be a really high volume in the pocket type of fight. And once you get over $9,500, it's really tough to justify paying that price. So $9,700 for Dyer. She had a finish in her last fight. She only scored 95.8. If you give her 95.8, I have a really good feeling she's not going to be on the optimal lineup at 9,700. So I'm going to full fade her. Elise Reed, I mean, if you think she has a chance, you could play her. But I put 5 stars for the Dyer side just as a way to get different. If I had to use this fight, I would still rather take Dyer because no one's going to be on her. I think I have her as my third or fourth. I think the third highest or least owned fighter on the card. So that's the only reason to play Dyer. And I think she could get a finish, but I have her winning all 3 rounds. And in a decision, I just don't know that there's any chance she can get there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not playing Elise Reed. I'm not playing Dyer. It's been 9,600, man. Then Orobai loses last week. It's been really difficult for me in the 9,600 price range. Thankfully, Dyer's 9,700. I feel good that she'll win. She won't be optimal, and we can move on from that fight. Man, I did us a disservice. Our man Kenny W, shout out to him, winning the MMA World Championship, and our man Cheats takes second. Those two were really close. So shout out to both of you guys. Matt K, I think, was like 4th or 5th. Phenomenal showing from many of the Shipping Nation members. Kenny wins it. Jalen Turner, the leverage play. Congrats. Awesome stuff right there. All right, next fight. Yep, congrats for sure. Next fight on the slate. And again, this bout orders from Monday. That's when I put these odds and the pricing up and everything, but it might have changed a little bit. But Jackson McVey and Wesley Schultz, -170 McVey, +149 is Schultz, -450 for this fight to finish. McVey -110 inside the distance. Schultz +175. McVey round 1 +185. Schultz round 1 +300. Under 1.5 -180. I mean, all of these just slam dunk plays. If you fade the main event, I think you're forced to play this fight. I mean, both of them will be high owned. Ideally, I would play both McVey, Schultz, and Hernandez, Rodrigues. But if you do that, you have to be kind of worried what you're doing in your other spots. But if we keep all 13 fights, I think ownership will be spread out enough. I just want to jam this fight even at high ownership. And what are your thoughts? But then I see you have Wes Schultz as your preferred play, it looks like. So are you picking him to win?
I am picking him to win, but not with any real confidence. I just think that he is a very slick grappler, and if this fight does hit the ground, there's just a lot of ways he can submit McVey, and we've seen McVey submitted as well. So that's why I have Schultz as my 4-star. But if you're making a lot of lineups, I would not be against having more McVey than having Schultz, because if there's really a first-round finish, most of that equity, I think, is to McVey. He is the better striker, the more dangerous striker, and he's also nasty in the clinch as well. I just don't think Schultz can hang with him on the feet. But on the ground, early in the fight, maybe it could go a little bit either way, but I trust Schultz the longer the fight goes, and I do think he is just a better, more skilled submission grappler in this one, and he could get a finish in the first or the third round. At $7,500, I'm really cool with either one of them. But McVey, I think almost all of his win equity is in the first 8 minutes or so of this fight, because if he is as aggressive as he usually is and he's fighting off takedowns, I just think he's going to start to slow down as the fight moves along, and then the submissions could be easier for Schultz. So Schultz is the first underdog on this card I'm picking to win. I mean, you can kind of tell the other ones I'm picking as well, but I feel really good about targeting this fight in general, so I'll have a lot of Schultz.
Yeah, I want a bunch of both sides, but everything you said I agree with. McVey, all 9 of his pro fights have ended inside the distance. 8 of those 9 have ended in round 1. 10 of Schultz's 12 fights ended inside the distance. McVey better striker, Schultz better grappler. Under, or it was -400 on Monday. Now it's -450 to finish. I just think everything's pointing in the direction for this fight to score well, so I'll have a lot of it. I pick McVey, but don't mind Schultz for the savings. Next fight on the card, we have Gage Young taking on Stanley Dorsainvil. You know how to pronounce his last name?
Dorsainvil? I'm not sure. I would call him Stan.
Yeah, I'm going Stan. Stan the man. Gage Young taking on Stan the man. -150 Young. +130 Stan. +115 for this fight to finish. Young +235 inside the distance. Stan +325. This is one of the 3 fights expected to go the distance. It's also in the mid-tier. If you look at other mid-tier fights on this card, Shamil, Kennedy, -400 to finish. Petrino Spivak, -160 to finish. Then if you want to look at right above that, Hernandez, Rodrigues, -325 to finish. So for that reason, it's pretty tough for me to get to this fight in the mid-tier. It will get you different. Oh, another one, excuse me. Nasrat, Chris Padilla, also expected to go the distance. I think it's clear Young and Stan, and then Nasrat, Padilla are the 2 mid-tier fights that I don't have much interest in. I think the field sees it the same, but I think I'd rather, just to be honest, go McVey, plug in McVey, drop McVey to Schultz, leave 1,200 than I would trying to play those other fights to get different. So I don't love the upside. What's your take?
I'm actually not against this fight, especially as a mid-range fight. I think this could be one of the higher volume fights on both sides. I liked what I saw from Stan. He looks like he's got good hands. He'll like to stand in the pocket and trade. And Young is kind of the same way. And also, both guys are willing to mix in takedowns. Stan was going for submissions right away as soon as he would get a takedown. So I like the underdog again in this one. I just think the overall skills, he is young. He's fought less competition. He doesn't have the UFC experience yet. But just watching him, and I thought Stan looked pretty dang good. The one worry I would say is I think it was his most previous fight. I think they mentioned that he was a big underdog in that fight, and I thought he was clearly winning the whole thing. But just him being an underdog going in had me thinking, man, what did people see in this other guy, or are they really not believing in Stan here? But because I think he is UFC talent. I think he could mix in a couple takedowns here. I think he could get a knockout. I even think he could get a submission. So I'm picking Stan to win. But again, I haven't bet him yet. I don't know that I'm that confident in him. I would play Young as well because he is the more experienced one. He's got knockout power. He'll go for submissions and takedowns as well. So I think this is a sneaky fight in the mid-range where either guy has 90 plus, maybe even 100 plus potential.
Okay, I'm probably going to raise my interest a little bit. And you're talking about Stan. He has taken money since open. Gage Young open minus 250.
You just froze up. Uh-oh. I don't know if we lost me or if we lost title.
I hear you. You don't hear me?
I hear you now. There you are. You're back. All right, cool.
Oh my gosh, that's annoying. I hear you. I heard you the whole time. You got me? You sure?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Hopefully they do.
All right.
So let us know in chat if you can hear them.
All right, let me know in chat. What I was saying is all right, cool. I don't know what's going on. What I was saying is you like to stand the underdog. Gage Young, that's where the money's gone too. Gage Young open minus 250, now all the way down to minus 150. So Stan taking quite a bit. He is $400 cheaper. He's my preferred play in this one as well. But with all that being said, on Monday, Gage Young was minus 123. So Stan took money to start, and then Gage has got a little buyback since early in the week. Good. All right, we're both good. Thank you. All right, let's get to the next fight on the card. What's going on, Jeffrey Blue? What's going on, Bryant? What's going on, Mike Spencer? Great to see you guys. I didn't read this last anomaly. My two big underdog winning was a great work. I appreciate that. Yeah, last week was crazy. Charles Johnson won 2 as the dog, but Stoltzfus as a big dog, and then who was the other one? Chidi.
Wells. Jeremiah didn't score great, but he killed the card with a robot.
He beat Orobai. He wasn't optimal, though. Chidi was also optimal. So, yeah, good amount of dogs on last week's card. All right, we will keep it rolling to the next fights. The second biggest favorite on the card and the second highest price. We got Marcio Barbosa taking on Ryan Kuse. Barbosa minus 850. Kuse plus 586. Minus 1,400 for this fight to finish. Barbosa minus 700 inside the distance. Kuse plus 700. Barbosa round 1 minus 175. What are your thoughts on Wint versus Barbosa if you have to choose? And then, I guess just how much you see yourself getting at 9,800.
Yeah, so it's a tough one. I mean, Barbosa is just super dangerous. He is aggressive early in fights, and he throws mean hooks, and I think he can knock out the majority of this division if they fight the fight he wants to fight. And Kuse does look like a striker overall, so I do think he is going to want to strike at first, but he should be the one looking for takedowns in this one. That's what would make him more alive to win. But yeah, it's just about, in my opinion, does Barbosa score enough at 9,800? And if he does he beat Wint? I prefer Wint. I just think that Wint is likely to score within 60 seconds or to win this fight within 60 seconds. Whereas Barbosa, I don't know that he is even a bet I would want to make at like plus 400 to win in NC. I don't know what the line is, but to win within that first minute. And I think at $9,800, you need to win in the first minute to be on the optimal lineup, because he's not one of those guys who's going to go in there and rack up 20 takedowns and score 140. It's all about his first round knockout equity. And I think he gets the knockout in the first round, but that probably puts him at 110 or so points. And at $9,800, I don't think 110 is going to cut it, especially if Wint scores 128. So I prefer Wint. I doubt I get to Barbosa. The more lineups I make, the more willing I am, but it would probably be because I couldn't afford Wint and I had $9,800 left or whatever. So yeah, give me Barbosa to win in the first round and just not score enough. I'll X out Kuse, just because I don't think I'll have enough lineups. I think with 150, I'd keep him in my pool. I do think he's more live than Vegas does, but Barbosa is just, I mean, he's just a mean looking dude. And I think this is a fight that the UFC wants him to win.
Yeah, Barbosa is going to knock him out, I think. But I totally agree with you where if I'm spending anyone, if I could choose, I think I'd just be Wint because I'm on the same page. I think the first minute bonus is very much in play, whereas I think it's a lot harder, I think, for Barbosa to get there because I don't know if he's just going to like blast forward. I don't think Wint is going to worry about Chatman, what he brings on the other side one bit, whereas, yeah, Kuse is a little better. I don't think Barbosa is going to wrestle if it gets outside the first minute. Even, 110, which is really good. Not sure it's enough at 9,800. So I don't love it. I do prefer him to Dyer, though, if I have to choose. What about you?
Absolutely, yeah. Dyer's my least favorite pick on the entire. I mean, aside from Elise Reed, I suppose, but I will not touch Dyer. If I was playing 150 with my lineups and your lineups, I'm not touching Dyer.
Fair enough. Next fight on the card, closest line fight right now: Nasrat Haqparast, Chris Padilla -115, Nasrat -105, Padilla +135 for this fight. To finish, both fighters are +300 inside the distance. So on Monday, it was +120 to finish. Now +135, so the over has taken some money, and that leaves us at the most likely fight to go the distance on the card. So the closest fight, so you have to pick the closest in a coin flip. Then you have to get the fight the most likely to go the distance to be optimal. It is a mid-tier fight, though, but that is not a combination I like messing with too much. So I would probably cap them right around both of their inside the distance props, which is +300. What is your take on this fight?
Yeah, this would be more of like an MMA fight for me. The more lineups I'm making, the more interested I would be. But with a single entry or like just hand building lineups, I'm not really trying to click either one of these guys because I don't have a strong lean either way. I am picking Haqparast because I think he is just the more proven, the higher paced striker. And I do think this will be mostly a striking match. But Padilla is the more dangerous grappler, more likely wrestler as well. He's $200 cheaper. The line is basically a pick 'em. So I just don't really feel good about making a Haqparast lineup. And then in my mind, I'll be telling myself, man, should we just double this up and do Padilla as well? So that's my thing that's keeping me away from it, as well as I like that Stan Dorsainvil or whatever his name is more than both of these guys, and probably Young as well. I like that fight in general more than this fight. And since I think this fight plays out on the feet, I have it going the distance as well. I just don't think either one of them has 100-point potential in a decision win unless it is a crazy high volume in the pocket type of fight. And I just doubt that that's the case. I think it'll be a fairly technical, some volume, but I mean, they both average over 6 strikes per minute. I just don't think that's what we're going to see in this matchup. I think it'll be a more technical fight, and in a decision, I would think they're more flirting with 10x, and I don't think 10x is going to cut it on this card. But give me Haqparast as my preferred play and my pick to win.
Yeah, this is my probably second least favorite on the card behind Dyer Reed. I don't plan on playing any in like 15 or less, 20 or less. I prefer every other mid-tier fight, especially after you talked the Gage Young Stan fight up a little bit. This makes me actually like – that made me like this fight even less, and I'll get some little more exposure to that Young Stan fight. We do take it to another mid-tier fight, though, that you have a 5-star and it's -400. Actually, it was -400 to finish on Monday. Now it's -350. Shamil, Gaziev, -135. Kennedy, Nzechukwu, +115. Both guys, or like I said, -350 for this fight to finish. Gaziev +115 inside the distance. Kennedy +155 inside the distance. Gaziev round 1 +265. Kennedy +450. I shouldn't say a little surprised, but you have this as a 5-star. Like, would you be shocked to see it be more slow-paced early with Kennedy worried about Gaziev's power? They tit for tat, and then second round it like picks up a little bit, and the over is taking some money a little bit, not a bunch, but -450 now minus 400, now minus 350. That was the only reason. Sometimes at heavyweight, I worry about that a little bit, being worried about each other's power. But any thoughts on that? And then I see you have Kennedy as 4-star versus 2 for Shamil.
See, I was going back between 4-star and 5-star on this fight. But what made me side with 5 stars, I think that if Gaziev wins, it's likely in round 1. He'll come out, he'll throw bombs trying to get the knockout early, and if that doesn't happen, he'll go for a takedown. And I think round 1, if he gets a takedown, I think he could finish Kennedy on the ground. So most of Gaziev's wins, I think, are going to score 100 or more, and at $8,400, that's pretty dang good. But Kennedy, after the first, opening minutes, I think Gaziev is likely to slow down, and I think Kennedy can go a hard 3 rounds. And the longer it goes, the more I like Kennedy, but I just don't think it's going to go the distance. I think he would finish Gaziev at some point. And even in the second round as an underdog, I'm absolutely cool with Kennedy getting the second round finish. So even if he loses the first and gets kind of dominated, I feel like we're probably going to get a knockout and a knockdown along the way in that second round. So at $7,800, I'm cool with it. I think the price is what justified the 5 stars for me. And this would be a mid-range that I would really want to target because I think both sides have 90-plus upside. It could be a Kennedy first-round knockout, or even if Gaziev slows down, I think Kennedy could really put it on him and just dominate him on the feet with volume along with the knockdown and knockout as well. So I just think this is a fight I want to target either side of, but I think it's going to last more than the 1 round. Maybe, the longer it goes, the less I like Gaziev. So that's why I picked Kennedy as my pick to win, my preferred play. And if I'm going to try and get to a $9,900 or $9,800, I'm going to have to be shoving some underdogs in there, and Kennedy would be my guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm picking Kennedy to win too. I just think he has more paths to win. If the longer the fight goes, the more it benefits him. Has a pretty big reach advantage. Shamil definitely has the more round 1 power and very well just could flatline Kennedy. Didn't like Kennedy losing to OSP, but I think Kennedy, the speed advantage, the length advantage, and I think he can find a way to win for $600 cheaper. And it is fine, in my opinion, going Gaziev, taking Gaziev out, going Kennedy, and leaving $600 plus in chalkier lineups. All right, before we go to the next fight, let's hop over to the Shipping Nation homepage. As you can see, the all-access special, usually $99, now $49 for your first month, gets you all of the sports above. NFL will be here before you know it. College football will be here even sooner, and I cannot wait for college football. I really fell in love with it last year. PGA going on, MLB, MMA, and NASCAR. You can click the banner right here. Otherwise, bottom left, join the nation. There's some other deals, as you can see. The all-access 19-day or the 5-day trial for $19. You can see the monthly right here. If you go over and you say you just play MLB, single sports, if you just play MMA, single sport, MMA, whatever sport you do play, you can get in for $29 for the month. Annual gets even cheaper, and MMA goes on pretty much every single week. So we would love to have you. You also are able to get in the Discord for all of those sports if you do join. All right, next fight on the card, we have Lerryan Douglas taking on Jamall Emmers. Douglas minus 380. Emmers plus 303. This fight is minus 400 to finish. Douglas minus 250 inside the distance. Emmers plus 525. Douglas round 1 minus 125. And that's a lot of line movement. His round 1 prop was plus 125 at open. Now minus 125. Yeah, sign me up for some Douglas. 9,300 I think is too cheap. You can plug in any of these guys. Dyer, Barbosa, even Wint. I think Wint isn't guaranteed to get the first minute bonus. If he doesn't, I think Douglas has just as much upside. So yeah, I think he's a phenomenal play. And with his ownership, I think probably being elevated, I don't hate Jamall Emmers as well. He's a talented fighter. He'll compete minute to minute. So yeah, I'm in on both sides of this one.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite fights to target. I think almost all the first round equity is on the Douglas side. He is an aggressive striker. He's going to be trying to knock Emmers' head off. And Emmers does have a questionable chin. Plus, he's 37 years old, getting up there in age, taking damage over his career. So I think if this fight's playing out on the feet, Emmers is going to get knocked out. And I think minus 125 I think there's value in that round 1 prop for Douglas because I do think it's going to be a first-round knockout. What would stop it from being a first-round knockout would be Emmers' wrestling ability. And if he does get Douglas out of the first round because he wrestles him, I think he's likely to wrestle him in the second as well, and also in the third. And Emmers has 120-point upside at $6,900. So he's my favorite punt on the card, but give me Douglas to knock him out in the first couple minutes of this fight. I just think he's going to be aggressive, hunting for that knockout. And again, I think the UFC probably wants Douglas to get that knockout as well. They gave him a Rosa in his first matchup, super questionable chin. Now he's got a tougher matchup here, but same path to victory, same issue for the opponent. I think the UFC wants Douglas to get that first round knockout.
Yeah, you said it great, but I do think Emmers is an elite play at lower ownership, at good leverage with a lot of upside. You can see on the stone, 5.1 significant strikes per minute, 2.59 takedowns per 15 for Emmers. All right, let's get to the biggest favorite on the card and the highest priced. That is Anthony Wint minus 1,000, taking on Terrance Chatman plus 661. This fight is minus 1,000 to finish. Wint minus 850 inside the distance. Chatman plus 1,000. Wint in round 1 minus 250. Open minus 215. We already kind of talked about it. Like, we think he has legit 60-second knockout potential. With that being said, I think there's paths where he gets that and still isn't optimal, scoring 128. And when that's the case, it always makes it more difficult. With that being said, if I knew he'd get a first minute bonus, I'd still probably want at least 50%. So I don't see myself playing 50%. I don't think he's minus or plus 100 or whatever to get a finish or in this first 60 seconds. I think you might be able to find that prop, actually. I think you found it before, but I'd put 60 seconds at plus 300, plus 250. What would you put it at?
I would imagine that's closer to what it is. I think it's like, personally, I would make it closer to plus 200 because he has 4 wins within the first 45 seconds of fights. And on the Chatman side, I mean, really the only thing that impressed me about Chatman was I thought he had pretty good leg kicks. So if Wint doesn't want to get kicked in his leg, just pressure him right away. And Wint is dangerous, man. This guy has all the power, all the muscle. And if he doesn't want to just go in throwing hands, he could go in and take Chatman down and get a ground and pound knockout within the first 60 seconds as well. He's just imposing, powerful, big, and they're throwing him in like a week after he had the Dana White's Contender Series fight, which he won in the first 60 seconds. So I feel like the UFC wants him to do the exact same thing. You go out there, get a win in the first 60 seconds, and you got a name right away. So I think he's actually very likely to win in the first 60 seconds of this fight. But I also don't know that we're completely dead if he doesn't, because he is a good wrestler, and I think he could maybe land a knockdown, takedowns, and then just have some serious ground and pound. I don't know that Chatman can withstand all of that ground and pound for it to be just climbing up the numbers. So we probably at $9,900, I would imagine, need the quick win. But he just has the type of game where he could dominate the fight on the ground as well, and that scores well. So I like Wint. I don't like $9,900. I think Douglas is just so much more affordable. That's why I put this fight as a 3-star and the other one as a 5-star. And you also don't have to hunt for as many underdogs if you're playing Douglas. So if you can afford Wint, go for it. Get all you can afford. I'm going to X Chatman out of my lineups for sure. But $9,900 is, I mean, we've only seen that a couple of times, and I doubt it ended up on the optimal.
If you were playing 75 teams, how much win do you think you'd have?
If I was playing 150?
75.
75. I would imagine like over 30%. But I'd probably want to cap it around 50, no more than 60%, because you really need your underdogs to come through. And I like a handful of underdogs on this card. I think a lot of them have high possible scores too. But 9,900, even if he get, like you mentioned, even if he gets that quick win bonus, he's not guaranteed to be on there, which at most other prices you would be. So I'm not sure, man. I need to mess with my lineups tonight, obviously, because I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. So I'll know more if you guys want to hit me up in Discord. But I think I'm probably going to be hand building. So my path with hand building will be like, all right, let's start this lineup with Wint, see what we can do. And if it just isn't possible, I'm going to cut Wint out. It'll go down to Douglas. And I feel like I'll like the lineup very similar. So I don't think he's a must-have, but I also I feel like he is the first or second most likely that we've ever talked about on this show to win in the first 60 seconds.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot of praise, but I think it mainly shows just how bad Chatman might be as well. Derek is kind of talking about that as well. That made me laugh. What's going on, G Pfeiffer? Great to see you. All right, five fights left, and as you can see on the stone, Big Marley does not have too much interest in the next couple. Carli Judice minus 625. Just a lot. Chavez plus 450. Minus 110 for this fight to finish. Judice plus 110 inside the distance. Chavez plus 850. Judice round 1 plus 325. She opened plus 350. I don't know. I mean, plus 325 is 23.5% in round 1. Taking a look at our projected ownership right now, it's not out yet, but I will say we have Judice decent bit under that number for her round 1 prop. I don't hate it. I mean, I think I'd rather play Judice than I would rather play Judice than Dyer. I think I'd rather play Judice than Barbosa. And I might even rather play Judice than Wint because that is a significant $500 price difference. I'm not saying plug in Wint, drop to Judice and make her beat him one-on-one, but play Judice and leave 300 or something, I think is more reasonable. And yeah, I mean, she can throw volume. Look at that on the stone. So Judice, my preferred play. Doesn't look like you love it much. I probably like it more than you. I'm not sure about the Chavez side. I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, the $9,400 is what's taking me away from Judice. I like Wint more. I would try to find $500 to get to Wint. Definitely like Judice more than Dyer. I think Barbosa is kind of even for me. But Chavez, I mean, she's really didn't impress me. I think she's going to be a lot slower. Maybe she's got a little bit of power. She could possibly test Judice's chin, but I think more likely she should look to wrestle in this matchup. I just don't think that she can really dictate over the course of 3 rounds where this fight's going to take place. And I think Judice probably doubles or triples her up on volume, and maybe that volume adds up and puts Chavez away. That's probably what we need. I just don't think Judice will have enough volume to have any real chance at being on the optimal lineup in a decision. So it's really like we're targeting a first or a second round knockout from a 125-pound woman. I mean, she's gotten them before, but I just don't want to keep relying on that. So I would rather pay 100 less for Douglas, and that's going to take away from my Judice exposure right there. So I don't think I'm going to get to much of this fight, but I don't think Judice will have too much ownership. And the more lineups I make, the more interested I would be just to be a little bit contrarian. I think there are enough underdogs for me to afford a Judice and a Douglas lineup. I just don't like paying $9,400 for her. I bet she does score close to 90 points, but do you think if she gets 94, you think that has a chance of the optimal?
No.
Yeah,
no, but I think there's past she gets a 108 or 109 at 15%. Especially when I'm playing the main event, when I'm playing McVey Schultz, and then maybe I want to play a Gaziev Kennedy. It's like, oh shoot, now I'm playing the 3 chalkiest fights on the card. All right, I'll play Judice at 15% as a minus 650 favorite. That's 23% or whatever to win in round 1. Like you didn't think Chavez was any good. Judice at least throws volume. Maybe Chavez gets back up and Judice drops her again. I don't know. I'm taking a chance at 9,400, but
yeah, I would say with a single entry, I won't have Judice, but the more lineups I make, the more I could be interested.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. All right, let's get to the next fight. Anytime I see Mason Jones, I get very excited. He's minus 300, taking on Markel Medeiros, plus 245, plus 130 for this fight to finish. Mason Jones plus 185 inside the distance. Medeiros plus 525. Mason Jones round 1 plus 500. Not the best round 1 prop, but man, I love Mason Jones. He'll fight for your dollar. He can strike. He can wrestle. His inside the distance prop has moved a decent bit. Was plus 190 at open, got down to plus 165, now back up to plus 185. I'll let you take it away. I see a 2-star fight for this one.
Yeah, maybe I should move it to 3-star because I think you can make a case for both guys. I do love the volume and the pace from Jones. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter, the guy who's more likely to look for takedowns and land takedowns in this fight. But at 9K, we need him to be wrestling here because I think it's almost a toss-up on the feet. I think Medeiros is the more technical striker in this one. And if it is a striking match, I think Medeiros is just live to actually win the fight, and he could knock Jones out. So that's the case to play Medeiros. But Jones has landed 8 takedowns in at least 2 of his UFC fights. 2 of his UFC fights. He scored 117 and 126 in those 2 fights. I mean, give me those scores all day long. I just don't think that Medeiros is going to be that easy to take down. I don't think he'll take 8 takedowns. I think he will have a better chance of stuffing him. And I also think he'll have a better chance of drawing Jones into a striking match, which is what takes away from the Jones points. I don't think Jones has any real chance at the optimal in a striking match unless it's an early knockout. And I think the early knockout potential would be more so on the Medeiros side, just because I think he's the cleaner fighter and the aggressiveness from Jones could work against him. But 2 stars might be a little bit too low for a guy with just the pace alone that Jones can bring, and he will mix in takedowns. So I probably do need to up that to 3-star. But Jones is my preferred play just because of that wrestling potential. I'm picking him to win because he has more ways to win. But on the feet, man, this is more of a pick 'em fight.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. That's why I'm going to play some Medeiros. I don't love his upside because I think he's going to have to be fighting off takedowns, but the line's going to be too wide if it's just on the feet. But that also does it makes me like Mason Jones even more, since I think it does force him to wrestle. That's where he really unlocks his upside. Was minus 265 on Monday. Now he's minus 300, so he's taking some money. Good inside the distance prop, pushes the pace. 9K is a good price tag. I can plug in Judice, drop Judice, go Mason Jones, leave 400. I do like Mason Jones quite a bit. Again, I don't love Medeiros' upside, but when he wins, he is live for a KO. I think his inside the distance prop a little disrespectful. Jones has a great chin, but it's been hit a lot, and Medeiros does hit hard. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think this is a good real-life fight. I don't think it gets too much ownership for DFS, and I very well might be overweight. What's up, Mateus? Good to see you. New time? No, it just worked for Big Marley and I today. It's still usually Thursdays at 5:45, but at this point, I don't know. We kind of do what fits our schedule most. Like first week NFL, well, there's Wednesday and a Thursday game. I forgot. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, 5:45 or 8:45 Eastern on Thursdays is when we have it slotted in for. If we change it, we let the Discord know. And then subscribe to the YouTube. You can always see if you turn on subscriptions, want to be notified, you can see when we do get notified or when we do go live and what our show plan is. And then last thing, shippingnation.com shows on the far left. You can see right here when there are when we're doing them. All right, let's keep it rolling. 3 fights left.
I wanted to butt in real quick. I looked up the Wint first round finish, and it's for the fight in general, not just Wint, but plus 350, which is the lowest I've seen, but still higher than I think it should be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Odds Dyer, Barbosa, and Wint all miss the optimal.
All of them, man, it's hard to set odds on that. I'd say at least 20%, though. I'm not sure. I'd like to hear Sheets answer that.
I would say like 50-50.
Wow.
50, I mean, 97, 98, 99, just betting on not the fully upper tier getting there in a 13 fight. I think at 50-50.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought Judice was in there as well. But yeah, more likely with just the 3.
Yep. All right. 3 fights left. Rene de Ridder minus 400, taking on Roman Dolidze plus 316, minus 120 for this fight to finish. Dolidze plus 150 inside the distance. De Ridder plus 150 inside the distance. Dolidze plus 400. Dolidze is such a boring fighter in the sense of DFS and how he never pushes the pace. So that limits my interest at 7K. But de Ridder at 9,200, just a style alone, wanting to wrestle and grapple, be able to be on top, reversals, good knees in the clinch. Like I'm going to play some at 9,200 just because of his style. I don't know if Elise just being so boring, yet still dangerous with his power, with his grappling, if it just makes this fight super, super boring. But I'm going to take a chance on Ritter, just the sheer nature of his wrestling style. I don't love Elise. What do you think in this one?
Yeah, same. I think Elise is live for a knockout. He is the better striker, just much more powerful. He's probably the most powerful striker that De Ridder has had to face, at least in the UFC. So I think the knockout is definitely live, really in any round, but especially early. And if it's early at 7K, you're going to need him. But yeah, my preferred play is RDR in this one. I think his grappling edge is just – it's really enough to justify the minus $400 line. He is so much better than Elise. Once the fight hits the ground, I just don't think Elise has any chance. I think it's either a submission or De Ridder does what he wants in top control. But yeah, give me De Ridder as my preferred play in this one. It's one where I'd be playing both sides the more lineups I make. But with my hand builds, I would much more likely to start a lineup with De Ridder, see what I can do with it. And I'm really not trying to even click on Elise. In a hand-built single entry type of lineup, I'd rather go down to Emmers if I don't have Lerryan in my lineup at least. But I think both sides are playable, especially the more lineups you make. De Ridder is just going to have to either dominate on the ground or get that first-round finish at $9,200 for him to score enough points and beat out all these other high-scoring guys.
Yeah, I don't like this fight too much. I'll play some De Ridder. Elise just makes the fight so boring. Hopefully De Ridder dominates. I'll probably be around the field, but not a fight that I want to get a bunch of exposure to. This fight, though, very good one, or very solid in the mid-tier. We're back to the heavyweights, minus 142 Vitor Petrino, plus 122 Sergey Spivak, minus 160 for this fight to finish. Petrino plus 140 inside the distance. Spivak plus 265. I'm guessing you prefer Gaziev Kennedy fight in the mid-tier more than this one, as you have that 5-star and this 4-star. Is that safe to say? And then break this one down.
Yeah. As a whole, I would say that that's the case because I think that Petrino's really ceiling is a first-round knockout, and Gaziev has that same potential, but he also has wrestling potential as well. So I just think that's the better fight to target. But this is more of a binary fight where if it's on the feet, I really like Petrino to win and probably get a knockout at some point. But as a $7,700 underdog, Spivak has 110 plus 120 point upside. He could just completely dominate the fight on the ground. My issue with him is just we haven't really seen that from him. He's been more willing to stand. He hasn't landed multiple takedowns. Like in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, he only has 5 takedowns. I mean, that's just not going to cut it if you're going to be going for 1 or 2 takedowns against a guy like Petrino, who I really don't think Spivak has a chance to beat on the feet. I just think it's a good fight to target because first-round knockout equity on the Petrino side or almost any win from the Spivak side is fine. I just think that Petrino is going to get the knockout at some point. $8,500, I'm fine with it being the first or the second round. I don't think we can handle any real Spivak round winning and then a Petrino knockout. It's probably too late by that point. But Petrino is just one of those scary looking strikers that I just wouldn't want to be in front of. And I just don't think Spivak will want to be in front of either. So give me Petrino to get the knockout.
I'm on the Spivak side for my preferred play. As you can see, Monday was minus 175 Petrino. Now it's only minus 142. $800 price difference. Spivak taking money throughout the week. If someone does wrestle, I think it is on the Spivak side. His jab was actually good last fight. Relatively surprising. Yeah, I just prefer the savings with Spivak and what it gets me. But I think Petrino's fine. I do prefer Kennedy, Gaziev, if having to choose one fight between those two as well. All right, let's get to the final fight. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. And again, if you do want to go over to the Nation, just hop over real quick. ShippingNation.com. You can see on the top our banner, all access special, usually $99, then $49 now. Saber Sim Discord, access to all the sports above. Bottom left, join the Nation, can take you down. And you can see 5 days for $19 with Saber Sim and the Discord. If you want to give us a try, single sport options as well, MMA, Monthly, $29. Annual comes out to $17 a month. Just a little more to add Saber Sim if you do so choose. All right. Again, all of our content, projections, ownership, slate plan, everything, slate station, everything filled out for will be filled out on Friday. And let me also show the Stone 2, MMA, the Stone 2. So you can see right here, this is how you, if you plug in like Hernandez, Mason Jones, or you want a star fighters, whatever it is, you can see for DraftKings and FanDuel. You can optimize it, and when projections or ownership are in here, you can then see what the how many fantasy points the lineup's projected for, what the percent ownership is for it, how to star the lineups right here, and then you're able to eventually go to your saved lineups, download the CSV, and upload it over to DraftKings not to FanDuel. Yeah, we don't have the builder for FanDuel, but for DraftKings, and make sure not. Did I just break up? Oh, sweet. You said sweet.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and if you don't want to use opposing fighters, like if you're playing GPPs, I would unclick this button so then you can stack it that way. But awesome stuff over here from the team. Let's go to MMA, back to the Stone, and we have the main event. I'm very excited for this one. Definitely, whatever we're doing, Big Marley, we cannot miss this fight. It's Anthony Fluffy Hernandez minus 185. Greg Rodrigues plus 161, minus 325 for this fight to finish. Fluffy plus 110 inside the distance. Rodrigues plus 175. Fluffy's just one of the DFS GOATs. Wasn't good for him last fight. He didn't shoot takedowns against Strickland. I don't know what you're doing. You better shoot him in this one. Otherwise, I think it's going to be the same result. Do you think he gets back on track?
I'm picking Rodrigues to win. But I put 3 and 3 on this one because I just can't count out Hernandez. And Hernandez scored 192 points in one single fight. There's no other person on this card that can do that. Rodrigues can't do that. Rodrigues really can't even score more than like 127 or so, and that would just include a first-minute knockout. But if Hernandez can't constantly land takedowns and just wear out Rodrigues, I think he's going to get knocked out on the feet. I think it's not really a binary fight. I think Hernandez can hang for a little while or even not get knocked out early. And then the longer it goes, the more Rodrigues is going to start to fade and the more Hernandez will start to pick it up. But I just think he is going to be in trouble in a striking match. And Rodrigues is a really good grappler. He's dangerous with submissions. He's a good wrestler himself. He's definitely stronger than Hernandez. So if he can shuck off the first couple takedowns, Hernandez might turn into the same guy he was in that Strickland fight and just accept a striking match. And I don't think that'll go well for him. I like Rodrigues to get a first-round knockout, possibly a second-round knockout. And if he doesn't get it in the first or the second, I think the chances of him winning just start to go down and down. And Hernandez is going to start to dominate the fight, land takedowns easier, do what he wants in top control, probably submit Rodrigues at some point. So I just think it's a fight we have to target. A first or second round knockout from Rodrigues is on the optimal lineup. And I think any win from Hernandez is likely on the optimal lineup. This guy has scored 141, 192, 115, 120, 117, 134. Like that's top status in DFS right there. So the more lineups I make, the more I'm going to start making Hernandez lineups. But since I'm picking Rodrigues to win, the first lineup I make, I'm going to have Rodrigues in. I'm going to start that lineup. We'll see where it goes with Wint, but I'm sure Rodrigues is the next name I'm clicking on, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But this is a fight I'm going to make sure is in every single hand-built lineup that I create. I think we would need almost like a no contest or maybe a second-round Hernandez submission possibly doesn't get you there. As long as he's not landing freaking 5-6 takedowns before that. I just think it's rare for this fight not to be on the optimal. So I'll be all over this one. It's my favorite fight to target. I can't wait to watch it. I hope that we have a sweat going into it. But yeah, give me Rodrigues. I will say that I don't think I've ever picked against Rodrigues though. So there is some bias there. But I just think he is the real full package aside from a questionable chin, which I'm not too worried about here, and questionable cardio, which in 5 rounds I am worried about.
Yeah, I'm picking Fluffy because I've never picked I picked Rodolfo, and I think ever since then I have. It's his pace, everything he puts on. I'm worried though that my confidence is not high. There's no doubt about that, and I plan to be pretty even in terms of DFS. if Gregory wins, it's hard for him not to be optimal. At 7,600, and it opens a lot up. I think this and the McVey Schultz fight, priced right next to each other, is definitely the best fights to target on this card. But yeah, do know it's going to be pretty chalky when you plug this fight in, when you then go McVey Schultz fight, and then you play Wint or Gaziev Kennedy. You got to get different in some other spots. That's why we do have projections and ownership always posted. It's very important in this sport. We've talked about that in the more education MMA. Big Marley and I talked for over an hour and a half. Ownership matters. Everything on the stone you can see. All the write-ups will be up at the Slate station. I already showed out the Stone 2.0 to start virtually hand building some teams. Again, projections, ownership, everything you need for DFS. Definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. Big Marley, any final thoughts for you?
Nah, man, I hope it's a good, successful card. I can't wait to sweat it in Vegas with you. If you guys are going to be out there, hit us up. Hopefully we'll be at Circus, the swim. What's it called? Stadium Swim.
Stadium, yeah, I think you're right.
So that'll be sick to watch some fights out there. But yeah, I can't wait, man. Good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening, except that last guy who commented. Let's ship it.
Good luck, everybody out there. For my man, Big Marley, I'm Title Town. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Peace.